Hello everyone, this is Kingrats here, and welcome back to another episode of the most traded players in NHL history, where I will be discussing three former NHL players who have a notable trade history, and this time focusing more on some star players that perhaps more people will recognize compared to my previous two videos. First off, we have Doug Gilmour. Doug Gilmour was a former 7th round pick in the 1982 NHL draft by the St. Louis Blues, and his playing career in the NHL lasted from 1983 until 2003. The peak of his career was, of course, in the late 80s and early 90s when he won a Stanley Cup with the Calgary Flames and is most well known for his time with the Toronto Maple Leafs in the early 1990s. Over the course of his career, Gilmour was traded 5 times, and arguably you could probably make a whole video of his trade history alone because it is quite extensive and there's a lot of moving parts there. Outside of St. Louis, Calgary, and Toronto, he also played for the New Jersey Devils, Chicago Blackhawks, Buffalo Sabres, and last but not least, the Montreal Canadiens. And he was relatively productive over the course of his career. In his final career in Montreal, he played in 61 games and recorded 30 points before being traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs and ended his career playing one game in a Leafs sweater, and that was the end of it in the 02-03 season. Gilmour finished his career with just over 1,470 games played. He recorded 964 assists and 450 goals for 1,414 points, alongside of just over 1,300 penalty minutes. And he also has a very stellar playoff resume, having played in 182 games, recording 60 goals and 128 assists for 188 points, alongside of 235 penalty minutes. Number 2, we have Peter Zezel. Peter Zezel was a former 2nd round pick of the Philadelphia Flyers in the 1983 NHL draft, and his career lasted from 1984 until 1999 at the NHL level. In total, he was traded 6 times over the course of his career, and it's also significant enough that you could probably make another video on that as well. Outside of Philly, he played for the St. Louis Blues, Washington Capitals, Toronto Maple Leafs, Dallas Stars, New Jersey Devils, and last but not least, the Vancouver Canucks. He was a very productive defenseman in the NHL. He played in 873 games and recorded 219 goals and 389 assists for 608 points, alongside of 435 penalty minutes. He also has an extensive playoff career with 131 games played, recording 25 goals, 39 assists for 64 points, alongside of 83 penalty minutes. Outside of the NHL, Zezel's career actually ended in the province of Ontario, where he played in the OHASR, which is now a defunct Ontario Senior Hockey League, in which he last played for a team called the Hornets, where he played just 4 games, recording 6 assists and 6 penalty minutes. And last but not least, for this video, we have Sergio Momesso. Momesso was a former 2nd round pick of the Montreal Canadiens in the 1983 NHL draft, and his career lasted from 1983 until 1997. Known as more of a physical presence on the ice, he was known for being a very hard-hitting player and not being more of a heavy point producer, but was on some very notable teams over the 1980s and 90s. He was traded 6 times over the course of his career, having played for the Montreal Canadiens, St. Louis Blues, Vancouver Canucks, Toronto Maple Leafs, and the New York Rangers. Outside of the NHL, he had some instances of playing in Europe. In particular, he played for Milan in the Italian League for a hot minute in the middle of the 90s, and he actually ended his playing career in Germany, having played a couple of seasons in the German Elite League, playing notably for Cologne and for Nuremberg. He actually finished his final season in Cologne, playing 31 games, recording 6 goals, 11 assists, and 17 points, alongside of 76 penalty minutes. He finished his NHL career having played 710 games with 152 goals and 193 assists for 345 points, along with a whopping 1,557 penalty minutes. In the playoffs, he played in 119 games, recording 18 goals, 26 assists for 44 points, alongside of 311 penalty minutes. And that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this one. Thank you again, and I'll see you all in my next video.